Hey, what's up guys? It's Coach Justin from Ultimate Baseball Training, and today we're going to be talking about how to tell what pitch a pitcher is throwing before he actually throws it. I think you're going to like this one. Let's jump into it. Now, is it possible for you to guess exactly what pitch is coming before the pitcher throws it every single time? No, of course not, right? That's what makes hitting so difficult, and that's what makes the game of baseball so fun. I mean, it's a challenge, right? So you're not going to be able to do this every single time. You're not going to always know exactly what pitch is coming out of the hand, but there are some things that you can do, some things that you can study to really give yourself an advantage at the plate and guess right or anticipate the correct pitch more often than not, all right? So that's what we're gonna talk about in today's video. The very first thing that you need to be doing, okay, is you need to watch the opposing pitcher's pregame bullpen, and you need to watch his warm-up in between innings, all right? So why do I say you need to watch his pregame bullpen? Shouldn't we be focused on what we're doing on this side of things? Well, I'm a firm believer that yes, you have to get yourself ready to play. That's the most important thing. You have to get yourself ready physically, and you have to get yourself locked in and ready to go mentally too. But there's so much data that you can collect from watching the 10 or 15 minute bullpen of the opposing pitcher before the game. For example, here's some information that you can collect. First of all, you want to get your timing down, right? And so it's better to get your timing down before he actually steps on the real mound and you're facing him in the real game. It'd be better if you could get your timing down before the first pitch, right? So getting your timing down is one big thing, but also you can figure out what pitches does this pitcher throw. You might have never faced this pitcher before. So does he just have a fastball and a changeup? Does he have a fastball, curveball, slider, changeup? How many pitches does he have? And more importantly, on that particular day, what can he actually throw for strikes? Okay, because pitchers, they're human, just like hitters, right? We're all human. And pitchers are gonna have different things working on different days. So for example, he might, throw, let's say, a fastball, a curveball, and a changeup. But you notice in his pregame bullpen that he cannot find the strike zone with his curveball, right? He might be struggling with, his release point, and he might be throwing his curveball 10 feet high in the air or throwing it into the dirt every single time. He cannot locate his curveball. So guess what you can do as a hitter? Your first at bat of the day, you can go into that at bat confident knowing this guy's probably going to throw me a fastball or a changeup. You literally, instead of 3 pitches and the likelihood of him throwing each of those pitches being 33.33%, right? You literally eliminated a third of his pitches. So now it's a 50-50 toss-up. Is he going to throw me a fastball or is he going to throw me a changeup? And in hitters counts, a lot of times a fastball is going to be coming out of the hand. So you see how collecting this data pregame can really help you out. And also, hitters or pitchers rather, they can have different things working on different days, but they can also find a pitch in the middle of the game. So it might be in between innings, right? And then all of a sudden he can locate that curveball. Maybe now he's struggling to locate that changeup. So that's why it's so important to watch, not only for pitching changes and to see new pitchers coming in, but even that starting pitcher, pay attention to what's working right now for him and what he's struggling with. The next thing you need to do is you need to study the pitcher's tendencies and his patterns, all right? And again, I mentioned it earlier, but we're all human beings, right? We all fall into routines and patterns. I mean, you get up in the morning and you brush your teeth. That's something that you probably don't have to think about. It's just a pattern. It's a routine that you fall into. And pitchers really have to fight this. They really have to consciously work on not falling into patterns. But you're going to notice that a lot of pitchers do. A lot of pitchers, what are some things you can look for? A lot of pitchers like to start hitters off with a similar pitch, the same pitch, right? So you might find that hitters or pitchers over rely on their fastball, and so they like to start the majority of hitters off with fastballs, okay? So figure out what patterns, what does he like to typically throw first pitch? Similarly, what does he like to throw when he's ahead in the count? How about behind in the count? Is there a particular pitch that he loves to go to with 2 strikes? If he gets a hitter down to 2 strikes, does he always try to throw a curveball in the dirt? That's really good information to know when you're at the plate and you actually get to 2 strikes, okay? So, pitchers try to not fall into these patterns and these tendencies and things like that, but they're human. They start focusing on other things. Maybe they're struggling to find the zone and they start worrying about mechanics, and they're not so concerned with, what pitch is actually coming out of the hand. Catchers, same thing. They're calling games, and sometimes there's certain patterns that they like to fall into. So figure out, what does he like to throw first pitch? What does he like to throw when he's ahead in the count? What does he like to throw when he's behind? How does he like to put hitters away? Does he like to start pitchers or hitters out out with the first pitch either in or away? Does he like to, stay on the outer half of the plate, stay on the inner half of the plate? What's the location that he likes to go to with 2 strikes, okay? So these are all things that come from studying the game, actually not screwing around in the dugout. I'm fine with you laughing and having a good time with your friends, but be locked in on the pitcher, what he's got going on, and really try to study these patterns, these tendencies. What does he consistently like to do? That'll give you an advantage at the plate. And the last tip, this one's really important. Figure out if he does anything to tip his pitches. In other words, does he do anything pre-pitch that gives away what pitch he's actually throwing? And pitchers are kind of notorious for this, especially at the younger levels. A great example is, they're looking at the catcher, getting their sign, and all of a sudden you can see that they're, wiggling their fingers, and there's a whole lot of movement in their glove. And what are they doing traditionally? They're digging for a breaking ball, right? A lot of the times pitchers come set, and they might, have that fastball grip, and then as soon as they see it's, an off-speed pitch that's called by the catcher, then they got to go dig for that grip. So if you see finger movement, for example, that could be, a sign as to when you see him digging around in his glove, what pitch comes out of the hand next. Is it always an off-speed pitch next? Or, another great thing that you need to try to figure out is what pitch does he try to preset in his glove? So a lot of younger pitchers will try to preset a fastball in their glove, so anytime they're wiggling, that means they're digging for something off speed. But the higher and higher levels you progress, then pitchers start to get a little bit smarter, and a lot of times then they'll come preset with, let's say, a curveball grip or a changeup grip. A lot of times it's whatever pitch is hardest for them to throw, whatever pitch is, I should say grip-wise is the hardest grip to get to. That's actually the grip that they'll preset, and then they might go digging for a fastball. And so try to figure out, how does he come set? What is his preset grip that he has in his glove? And then the last thing that you can kind of look at in terms of whether or not he tips his pitches is, things like arm angle. So maybe on a fastball, he has a 3/4 arm slot. He's throwing the ball from over here, but then on a curveball, he really has to get on top of it, and it's a completely different release point. And so that might be something where it's not really before the pitch, it's as he's delivering the pitch. But if you can recognize from his release point before the ball actually comes out of his hand, that's a curveball, you're gonna have a better chance of actually hitting it. So figure out, does he tip his pitches in any way, all right? Hopefully you enjoyed today's video. If you did, hit that thumbs up button for me. I'd really appreciate that. Be sure to subscribe to the channel if you're not subscribed already, because we're coming out with brand new baseball videos every single week, and I know they're gonna help you take your game to the next level. And speaking of taking your game to the next level, if you're interested in improving your hitting, and if you want clarity on exactly what to work on when you go to the field to take your hitting to that next level, then go watch the free on-demand hitting training that I put together for you. It's 100% free. All you have to do is click on the link down in the comments section. That'll take you straight there, all right? So go ahead and watch that right now. Thank you for watching today's video, and I'll see you next time.